Welcome to the Author's Edge radio show with Gael Freer and Bob Price. Now, their show airs nationwide on the My Genre Radio Network, Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Each week on their show, they help authors create books that transform our lives and imaginations. Through radio excellence, they create a unique community resource, one that promotes, connects, and fosters a sense of well-being. Gael and Bob maintain a focus on sharing books, publishing, marketing, and writing solutions. They serve listeners by providing outlets for their creative skills and energies, and they help them flourish in the competitive marketplace. Their weekly show provides intros, writing spotlights, helps you in promoting your book, your writing, your publishing, your marketing tidbits, and much more. Okay, audience, here's Gael and Bob.
Hi, Bob. Or is it Bobby? Are we changing it to Bobby?
No, I left Arkansas.
You left Arkansas?
Yeah.
And it's actually, I should say, welcome back because you've been gone for a while. I mean, did the hogs eat you?
Where was I?
I don't know. You were out back somewhere. I mean, remember, like I told you, I mean.
Machu Picchu?
Is that where you were?
Mm-hmm.
You climbing mountains with that bag leg?
Mm-hmm. That's right. I drug it all the way up.
You drug the leg?
Yes.
So it was gimp, one leg up,
Yeah.
one leg down,
One
up,
gimp at a time.
one gimp at a Oh my, oh my.
But I was a little ill.
You've always been a little ill. What's different today?
Well, I'm not dizzy today.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Especially since you're driving.
Yes.
So you're safe,
Yes.
sort of.
Sort of.
Today, who do we have?
Ah.
We have Chelsea Tornetto. I said that right?
Yes.
Tornetto. She is a former world geography teacher who has loved writing ever since she was a kid. Her first book, Conquering Content Vocabulary, was published by Scholastic in 2018, but now her passion is picture books. She is the award-winning author of Gardens Are for Growing, Famulus 2022, and God Made You Too, Worthy Kids in 2022, with more titles on the way. When she isn't working on her own stories, she helps others follow their dreams of writing for children as a freelance editor and author coach for at-home author. And my husband knows that personally because he hired her to do his book, to edit his book. And because he's writing a book about fish.
Fish.
Cute
They're
little fish.
in the ocean, right?
Fish in the ocean. But it's a really cute little, it's called Goldie. It's a cute little fairy tale type book. And it's Goldie. She's a cute little, she's really big and beautiful and bold. But anyway, so welcome, Chelsea.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, we love having you. Actually, we've heard Chelsea speak before. She was at our writing group.
SEMO Writing.
The SEMO Writers Guild in Cape Girardeau,
Missouri.
right? And we have our meetings this month it's the third Saturday, but generally speaking, it's the last Saturday of the month in Cape at 10:30 in the morning. So she spoke with us there
On Saturday.
on Saturday. Okay, what sparks your love for writing as a child? What got you started?
Well, I had some really fabulous teachers when I was young. I went to a little Catholic grade school, and all of my teachers were super encouraging, but particularly my 8th grade teacher. It was such a small school. She actually taught 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade language arts.
Oh, God bless her soul.
And she was just really great at getting us interested in creative writing. We wrote poetry, we wrote short stories. And then at high school, I had another wonderful writing teacher. And so I think it was probably them that pushed me into it a little bit. And natural creativity. I think sometimes people just like to write. So a little bit of that too.
Then you became a geography teacher?
I did. Yes.
Why not an English teacher? I mean,
Well,
your love of writing.
I started off there. So I went
and then you figured out you had to grade papers, huh?
Well, no. I actually love
see,
to grade papers because I'm an editor now. So that's like grading
oh, you see,
papers
that's
all
what
the time.
That's what drove me out.
I love that. But I went to SEMO, Southeast Missouri, in Cape, and I did the education program, and I was not a fan of their English department. Sorry, SEMO. They were just very, like, there was a certain way they wanted me to write, and I didn't always want to match that expectation. A lot of the literature that they were teaching was very old literature, and I liked more modern stuff, especially because I wanted to teach kids, and I think kids like updated, books to read. They like things that reflect their life now.
So you changed majors?
And so I changed majors, and actually ended up with an education degree, and I don't really know if it's called a double major or not, but I was certified when I left. I was certified to teach language arts grades 5 through 12 and social studies 5 through 12, because history and geography had always been my other love. So I ended up majoring in that. That was my main area of expertise. So
okay. Well, see, my love was always the old books,
the old literature.
Yes. So Shakespeare, all of those old books. That was always my love. Yep. So I majored in English literature.
Okay, cool.
And so
not education, just
no.
English.
My major was English literature. My minor was secondary education.
Oh, okay.
So that was what I did, and I loved it.
You were a minor too? Okay. Well, Chelsea.
Silly.
I wanted to know how you got into publishing your first book. In other words, tell us that story about
the origin story.
Yeah.
So I taught for 17 years total, and right around year, I don't know, 10 or 12, I had some strategies that I had come up with on my own, some teaching strategies for like vocabulary and things like that, and thought they were really good, wanted to share them with people, and found a open call for submissions from Scholastic, which is a really well-known publisher. And they do not accept submissions for children's books from anyone. You have to have an agent to do that. But they were accepting submissions for teacher books, like how to teach vocabulary, how to do stuff like that. And so I sent in a submission for that, and they accepted it and published it. And it's this one, which we didn't put up.
Yeah.
Conquering Content Vocabulary. There you go. And so that was actually my first book, and that kind of gave me the confidence, I guess, when, okay, I can do this. I'm good enough to make this work. And so then I started wanting to get into children's books, but they're much, much harder to break into, a lot more competitive. And so I went to a couple workshops that were put on by Highlights, the magazine, the children's magazine. Went to a retreat at their campus in Pennsylvania. It was on a farm in the middle of nowhere. It was wonderful. And learned so much there and decided to pursue children's publishing. And so I decided that I wanted to traditionally publish. I did not want to self-publish. And I got an agent and started submitting. And that's where these 2 books came from.
So how did you find your agent?
So getting an agent is really, really competitive, and it's a lot like applying for jobs. So you kind of like research each individual agent, what they like, what they don't like. You send them a cover letter with one of your manuscripts, and then if they like it, they may agree to represent the rest of your work as well. And so I went through that. It's just querying is what it's called.
Right. But where did you find your list of agents?
So there's lots of places you can look. At Home Author, the company that I work for now, actually helps with stuff like that. But like SCBWI, which is the Organization for Children's Rights.
And it's called again?
SCBWI, which is the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. They have a list that they curate and, check everybody out, make sure they're legit. There's also a website called Query Tracker that allows you to search by genre, and find agents that represent you. There's a website called Manuscript Wishlist where agents can, if they want to, have a profile that lists what they're looking for. So, and then there's just hundreds of blogs out there who interview agents, and so there's also a book. It's like the Children's Market. I can't remember what it is, but anyway, you can get it at the library. It has a list in it. So it's a lot like looking for a job. Like, where do you look for jobs? Well, there's different websites.
Right.
So yeah, you just got to do a lot of research.
Yeah. And that's very time consuming.
It is. Yes.
So how do you find your illustrators?
So when you are traditionally published, you don't do that yourself. The publisher does that for you. So
Okay.
I have actually never met either of my illustrators. I've never even spoken to them. The illustrator has their contacts and they take care of all of that. So unlike if you were to self-publish a children's book, then you have to find your own illustrator. So
And you were not interested in looking for your own illustrators.
it's not that I mean, I love looking at illustrator portfolios, and I do that now in my work at Home Author all the time, but it is overwhelming and it is expensive to hire an illustrator.
Yeah.
And when you self-publish, you're basically starting a business, and that's the part I didn't have an interest in.
Right.
I love writing. I probably would have loved choosing an illustrator. That part of it, the creative part of it, I love, but I had no interest in learning how to run Amazon ads or how to get your book distributed to Barnes and Noble. Like, I just didn't want to do the business side of it. And so that's why I chose traditional publishing.
Okay, so the book that you wrote is Gardens Are for Growing. Now, which
Yeah.
one is that?
So that's right here on the left. And it is a picture book that is rhyming. It's just a poem, basically. If you saw it on paper, it would be about a 1.5-page poem. And it's just about a dad and a daughter and growing up in their backyard garden and all the parallels between growing a garden and raising a child.
Okay.
And it's super, super sweet, super nostalgic. And at the end, she grows up and brings back a grandbaby.
And what was the inspiration
and-
for this?
My husband and my daughter. I have 2 kids. Tessa is 14 now. And Milo is going to be 10 in just a bit. And my husband, Mike. And I have a black thumb. I can't grow anything at all. Like, I have 2 of those Boston ferns that you just put on the porch and just make them wet as much as you can all the time and they'll live. That's pretty much all I can grow.
Oh, that's okay. One of the first plants that I ever got was from a student. It was a cactus.
Did you kill it?
I killed it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would. I would totally too. I'm
Yeah,
terrible.
I can't. Yeah, no.
So it's not based on me, that's for sure. But my husband is a very talented gardener. We have a huge back. In fact, we just tripled the size of it this year. We built raised beds, and it's huge. And so from the time my kids were little, and being both teachers, my husband and I are both teachers, and so we're off all summer. And so many of our childhood memories with our kids were in that, in the backyard,
Right.
sprinklers and plants, and like, it's
Right.
just, so that's what it's based
So that's-
on.
Are you
Yeah.
still teaching?
I'm not. I left at the end of last school year. So this is we're coming up on 1 year being out of the classroom. So
How's that feel?
How's that feel?
feels pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I,
Well, what made you leave the classroom, really? Honestly.
Well, truly, I was one of those teachers, one of those people that I felt called to teach my whole life. From when I was in kindergarten, I had a teacher's play set, and that was, I've always wanted to teach. So it was definitely a calling. But after 17 years, I was very burnt out on student behaviors, which were getting worse and worse and worse. Lack of accountability from parents. Those behaviors I couldn't do anything about them. I'm pretty good with discipline in my classroom, but I couldn't do that anymore. And so just a change in culture in the schools that I just was tired of.
Were you in public schools?
I was tired. Yes, I was in public schools. So yeah. And the kids are great. I mean, I still miss the students sometimes. That's why I do love to do school visits, because I get to go back into the schools.
Right.
And so I love teaching still. But it was just a grind, when you have your own 2 kids at home and you come home exhausted. And I wanted to write more, and you really don't have a lot of mental energy left to write at the end of a long school day.
Yeah.
And so when the opportunity came up at Home Author, I was like, this is perfect, because I still get to teach. I'm teaching people about publishing, but they want to be there. They're interested.
They are.
and passionate.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. How do you weave your nature's rhythm into verse? How did you
a
were
really
able to-
hard question. I don't know. I've always loved rhyme. I've never really found it. I mean, it's always a little difficult, but it's my favorite. It's a lot like songs, I feel like. And I don't know, I guess just having the experience in our garden at home and using that imagery to inspire it. I also grew up on farm in Southern Illinois. And so, you know, not that I was a huge outdoor kid, because I wasn't, but you're surrounded by nature and,
Right.
you know, kind of use that as inspiration. So,
Right.
What emotions do you aim to evoke, you know, through your poetry?
well, honestly, when I start writing something, I don't have a particular goal in mind. It's more about how the words go together and phrases that sound fun. So sometimes poems will end up being really funny, and sometimes they'll end up being really, these two are both, I don't know, lyrical, nostalgic, kind of sentimental kind of
Mhm.
stories. And it seems like those are the ones that have sold so far. I have a couple more coming out in 2025 that are also like that. But I mean, what's my goal to evoke in kids is laughter. I want to write a humorous book so bad. That's like definitely an active goal of mine. I have a couple out on submission right now. So
So
fingers crossed.
Is there a
I think I'm
message
funny.
in your books, or maybe not?
I wouldn't say a message in terms of like a lesson, you know, like I spend a lot of time at home author coaching people about not being preachy in a children's book,
Mhm.
like, because kids get preached to every day of their life.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
every second of the day, they're being told what to do and how to do it and what they should and shouldn't do. And so I don't think any children's book should have an overt message, but an underlying theme, there's always got to be one of those
right.
to you know, drive the story forward. So yeah.
So what is the underlying theme?
Well, Gardens Are for Growing is, like I said, it's about the, you know, the similarities of raising kids and growing a garden. Childhood, I guess.
So for a child, what would the child's takeaway be on that?
The children tend to really like the emotional appeal of the baby at the end. I've had whole gyms full of kids at the end. We read it aloud, and at the end they all go, "Oh." So, but that's with adults too. I think that's what's the beauty of picture books is that, you know, kids and adults alike can get a lot out of them. And sometimes I think the pictures are really there for the kids, and the story is sometimes there for the adults, you know? And so like this Gardens Are for Growing has some really fun just pictures of like a worm in the dirt and running under the hose outside, and kids will love that. And mom will get her heartstrings, you know, pulled whenever at the end. So I think there's messages for both.
Do you feel that your illustrator, I mean, you didn't have control over your illustration.
Correct. Yeah.
Do you feel that your illustrators really hit the mark with?
So far, absolutely. I have 3 more books coming out in 2025, so we'll see. But so with Gardens Are for Growing, if you look at the manuscript, it is does not mention a dad and daughter at all. The manuscript is just a poem about gardening.
Oh, really?
So I had little art notes that were not detailed at all. It would just say, you know, girl is toddler, you know, and at the beginning it would say dad and daughter in the garden together, like just a general overview. But the illustrator did a wonderful job. Yeah.
Did you get final approval on the illustrations?
Typically what you do is you get, the illustrator will do black and white sketches, kind of like a storyboard, only a little more detailed. Typically they'll send those to the author to look at, to make suggestions. Not that they have to listen to any of them, but oftentimes, like for instance, one of my next books is about farming, Seasons on the Farm. And I grew up on a farm. And so they sent me the black and white sketches, and there were at least 3 or 4 things that were just inaccurate. You know, the illustrator is from the United Kingdom. I don't know if they do stuff differently there, or maybe things look a little different, but there were a couple things that we had to change based on my feedback. So sometimes it's necessary changes for accuracy, but most of the time it's just, you know,
minor items,
minor things, and just making sure it all looks okay. So.
So the other book is God Made You Too.
Yes.
So how did that?
So I was actually shopping online and came across a wall hanging that had this beautiful quote on it, and I can't remember it exactly. You've probably seen it. It says something like, isn't it amazing that the same God who made the mountains and the canyons and the plains thought the world needed one of you too? And it was just this really piece of art. It was really beautiful. And I thought that was a great message. And I thought, I would love to convey that to kids in a simple, kid-friendly way. And also, I taught geography. I love geography and cultures and the world. And so I thought this might be a way to kind of hint at that to little ones too, like how big the world is and how many awesome things there are in it. So yeah, that's where that one came from.
Okay. You want to?
Oh.
It's time.
Oh, it's time. You're listening to The Author's Edge with Guy L. Freer and Bob Price, coming to you weekly on Saturdays at 10 a.m. on KWRH 92.9 and KXOK 102.9 FM. And Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. nationwide on My Genre Radio Network. You can also view our latest videos on past shows at authors-edge.com online and download valuable information on marketing and publishing.
So you're going to do marketing and tidbits now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And they're
I'm
going to
sure
be
glad you read this script.
I'm sure glad I wrote the script.
Yeah, I guess you did.
Jeez. Thank you.
Top 5 ways to maximize ebook sales.
Top 5 ways, not 4.
No,
How about 3?
You have 5 fingers on your hand.
How about 3?
No, you have 5.
5. You
Build
sure?
a strong online presence. That's number 1.
That's number 1. Number 2?
Use your fingers. Okay. All right.
1.
Establishing a robust online presence is crucial for reaching potential readers, including a professional website, active social media profiles, and engaging in online communities related to your
Do you
genre.
have social media, Bob?
Pardon?
Do you have social media?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I need to make sure I follow you. What platforms are you on?
Facebook.
Okay.
I've done a little bit on Pinterest,
Yeah.
and YouTube.
Okay.
Regularly sharing valuable content such as excerpts from your ebook, behind-the-scenes insights, and reader testimonials can help generate interest and drive sales. And of course, the other thing about the social media is always respond to the people that are talking to you.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Number 2.
Oh, number 2.
Optimize your ebook listing. Ensure that your ebook listing on platform like Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP, is optimized for visibility and conversion. Write compelling book descriptions with relevant keywords, choosing the right categories and subcategories, and designing an eye-catching cover that stands out in the crowded marketplace. I read statistics here that it is many. Consider leveraging features like Kindle Select and Kindle Countdown deals to promote your ebook to a broader audience. Number 3, utilize email marketing. Build an email list of interest readers, allowing you to directly communicate with potential buyers and nurture their relationships. Number 4, collaborate with influencers and bloggers. And partner with influencers, bloggers, and book reviewers who have a relevant audience and can significantly expand your reach and credibility. And number 5 is run targeted advertising campaigns. Invest in targeted advertising campaigns on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Amazon to reach potential, and BookTok is another one too.
Mm-hmm.
Have you used BookTok?
I have not yet. I mean, I watch it. I look at it, but I don't make content.
All right. But that's our top 5 tips.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's good.
I can count.
Yeah.
And We
And
are.
we're ready
And
for
our commercial break.
a commercial break.
The United States has a strong tradition of welcoming newcomers and refugees. The Welcome Corps is a new service opportunity for Americans inspired to welcome those seeking freedom and safety and in turn help strengthen their own communities. Welcome Corps is a public-private partnership that is inspired by what Americans represent to so many around the world, a beacon of hope and refuge. All it takes is a helping hand. Are you ready to learn more? Contact the International Institute of St. Louis at info@iistl.org or call 314-773-9090. That's info@iistl.org or call 314-773-9090.
El Potro Restaurant and Market, located at 6920 Manchester Avenue, 1 block east of McCausland, offers the finest variety of Mexican and Central American groceries and goods. El Potro Restaurant serves authentic Mexican and Central American cuisine, including daily specials, not to mention the best horchata and tastiest margaritas in St. Louis. Open 7 days a week. El Potro, 6920 Manchester Avenue, 1 block east of McCausland.
In 1857, the Dred Scott decision was a major legal event and catalyst that contributed to the Civil War. The decision declared that Dred Scott could not be free because he was not a citizen. The 14th Amendment, also called the Dred Scott Amendment, granted citizenship to all born or naturalized here in our country and was intended to overturn the U.S. Supreme Court decision on July 9, 1868. The Dred Scott Heritage Foundation is requesting a commemorative stamp to be issued from the U.S. Postal Service to recognize and remember the heritage of this amendment by issuing a stamp with the likeness of the man Dred Scott. But we need your support and the support of thousands of people who would like to see this happen. To achieve this goal, we ask you to download, sign, and share the one-page petition with others. To find the petition, please go to dredscottlives.org and click on the Dred Scott Petition Drive on the right side of the page.
And we're live. We are alive, as opposed to not alive.
I think I understand.
You think you understand? Okay, so you left teaching after 17 years, and this is the first year that you're going to be completely out of the classroom, working
In
from
my
home,
pajamas.
in your pajamas. Oh my, oh my, oh my!
Unless I'm on Zoom and then I wear a real shirt.
Only a shirt.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry
Still
about
pajama pants.
still pajama
So-
pants. Yeah. But you have you work at home author.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what inspired the creation of at home author?
Okay, so I actually didn't start the company. My boss and friend, Vicki Weber, she was also a teacher. She taught music, elementary school music for years, and she started self-publishing children's books. So we are like, peanut butter and jelly because we've done both traditional and self-publishing. We kind of go together. And so she started At Home Author because she started self-publishing children's books and was hugely successful. She was able to leave teaching and replace her full-time teaching income entirely, just selling children's books on Amazon that she had written. And so she started the company to, we have people asking you, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? And so she started it to teach people about that. And at first it was just private consulting, just her one-on-one with people. But she realized that the big decision that people don't even know they have to make is at the beginning of their journey is, do you want to traditionally publish or do you want to self-publish? And a lot of people don't even know the difference. And that's such a huge decision that can then
Impact how you go.
yeah, it can make it easier or harder as you go down the road. And so she wanted to expand from just private coaching to you also can only do one-on-one with that. So you only have so many hours in the day. But she wanted to reach more people. So the course is like a self-guided, part video, part text. And we also have monthly meetings. So there's a community of people that you can get to know. And it teaches both routes. So it introduces you to just writing good books, and then helps you figure out the best route for you, and then helps you down either route. So it'll coach you through how to research agents, how to get an agent, how to submit traditionally, and it'll also show you, if you want to self-publish, how to find an editor and an illustrator and all of the steps of that. So it's
Okay.
really comprehensive.
You also have a Brittany Palmieri.
Yeah, Brittany actually left just this past year. She
okay.
She's not with us anymore, but she was one of the original people too. She also is a successful self-published children's book author. So yeah,
Okay.
So
she
you
just-
cover the marketing end of the.
Yeah, we have the course. The main course that we sell, or that we provide, is has a whole module on marketing. So it talks about Amazon ads and launch teams and influencer,
Yeah,
all of the stuff that you
yeah.
were mentioning in your tidbits. So yes, it has that as part of the big course, but we also offer just like a separate course that's just Amazon ads. So lots of that.
Yeah, I printed out your
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I printed it out. See, on she has listed as for the marketing optimization. She has
Mhm.
keyword and category research, Amazon ad audit, book reviews.
Yeah, I've been learning a lot about that because like I said, I'm the traditional route, so my publisher does all of that. So
Right.
I've been learning too. Vicky is the expert on that, and she's really great at helping people
Right.
through that. So
Right. So how do you alleviate author publishing anxieties?
well, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think
But like basically, how do you alleviate that?
I think the main thing is that, both Vicky and I have been through it. Like, we've done it all and we've been successful. So, how, like, if you're facing a challenge in your life, if you have a friend who's been through it before and they've come out on the other side, that's really reassuring.
Mhm.
And so I feel like that's kind of how At Home Author is for a lot of new authors. It's like, well, these two are regular moms, former teachers, and if they can do it, they
Then I
can
can
show
do
me
it.
how to do it. And so I think that that's probably the best way.
Yeah. What
So-
sets? Would you?
I was going to say, what sets your courses and programs apart?
The
How
main
are they different?
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. The main thing is that, like I said, it covers both routes, traditional and self-publishing. There are tons of courses out there, and we've researched lots of them. I've taken some of them that are one or the other. There's lots of programs that'll help you get an agent. There's lots of programs that'll help you, just with the self-publishing part. But I think that's what makes us different, is that
You cover
you
both.
don't know what you don't know. Like a lot of people
Exactly.
the first course they come across, they're like, okay, I'll do that. And it's not till they get through it that they realize there was another option. And so I think that's what makes us unique, is that we present all of that up front and keep you from making a mistake, I guess, potentially, make sure you get off on the right foot.
So what's the length of your courses?
They are all self-guided. So, I mean, there's 5 or 6 modules. So like there's one about writing. That's a big module. There's a lot in there. There's one about editing. There's one about choosing that route. And then there's one for each route. There's one about marketing. So, I mean, it could take you, I've had people say that they sat down and went through it in like a week. And then I've had people who, take months to do it. So, and that's another thing that's unique about our program. A lot of these courses and programs are like a big fee, like $3,000 or whatever, and this is your course. We really wanted to help former teachers, and moms seem to be our key audience. And we know funds are tight. And so we set ours up as a monthly membership. So instead of paying this big, couple $1,000
Mhm.
to get access, we do it monthly. So it's $27 a month, and you can, as long as you need. If you want to
Wow.
watch it all in one month,
That's really
you're done
affordable.
for $27. I don't recommend that, but you could. And if you, want to work through it slowly, you can have it for as long as you want to pay for it. Some of our clients, keep it through multiple books. So, and it's not just the course either. We have a Facebook group and a community that really support each other. So, yeah.
Okay.
You also do a one-on-one as well.
Sometimes,
Can you tell
yeah.
us about that?
Well, it's kind of custom to whatever you want, but my main thing that I offer is story coaching. So I have a few clients right now that, once a week we get on a Zoom and there's a particular story that they want to bring to life, and they just kind of want some one-on-one guidance. And so it's typically once a week we chat and work on their story together. So that's the main thing that I offer. Vicky offers one-on-one with her expertise. So she'll do the Amazon ads and marketing and stuff like that. So
She offers a one-on-one with
she
that.
does. Not as many as she's busier than me, but yeah, every once in a while. So.
Well, I can understand that because that's a much bigger, well, not much bigger, but a much more challenging.
She's the one that, she
chat.
just brought me on, and she, she's my boss, so she pays me. She's the one who maintains the website and, all the business behind the scenes. So
Right.
I just write the blog posts and make the YouTube videos.
What kind of topics do you cover in your blog posts and videos?
Oh, I kind of, anything that comes up that I see a lot of questions about, like in my work, if I'm like, ooh, everybody's asking about this, I'll do one. But I'm working on one right now that's the 5 top places to find illustrators, freelance illustrators. Like, where would you go look for that? I have ones about, I just released or will be releasing a YouTube video about why characters' names are important in a story and how they can impact, a lot of times people just sort of like, oh, I'm going to name it after my grandson or whatever,
Right.
which is fine sometimes. Sometimes the name is not a big deal, but
sometimes
it
it
can,
is.
especially with children's books, because
Yes.
a lot of the time the name of the character's on the cover, or it can really impact it.
Even when
So.
I was teaching.
Yeah.
When you're teaching like Mask of the Red Death or any of the Shakespeare plays, you names were always important.
Yeah.
And if you look at a name that's an old-fashioned name,
Yeah.
it elicits certain images.
Mhm.
You look at a modern name, if you use the name Brittany, for example, you
Yep.
get a certain
era. Mhm.
right. You get a certain era. If you use the name
I don't know any
Letha,
Britneys.
if you use the name
Spears.
Letha,
Britney Spears.
yeah, Britney Spears.
Oh,
There you go. But you have an image.
but that's a different
immediately.
image.
But you have an image.
Yeah.
The same thing if you use a name like Letha or you
You
name like Ruth.
You
or-
name someone Karen.
yeah. You
Watch
don't
out.
you don't even do that anymore. People don't even want to. People whose name is Karen
I know.
that are nice people are
Karen
like really
is my
upset
cousin,
now.
Name
and so I don't want to
discrimination.
bring her name up.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
What is your YouTube URL?
URL. I don't know. Go to YouTube and search At Home Author.
Okay,
And that's
good.
it.
All right.
I don't know. I think that's it. I think it's like at Home Author.
Or one word.
I'm always on
Yeah,
YouTube.
all one word.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Yes, I
can
know you're all.
you
You
can
are. And you always
watch-
keep sending me stuff.
you can watch me talk about all kinds of things on the YouTube channel. So
Okay. All righty. So
What advice do you have to offer self-publishing authors?
okay, so self-publishing, make sure that you know that you are starting a business. A lot of people look at it as or understand if you don't want to start it, if it's like a passion project. Like you have some people who like, I just want to make copies of this book for my grandkid. That's fine. But know that you're going to have to invest some money in it because illustrations are not cheap. And I'm talking about children's books, obviously. If you're self-publishing a novel, that's different.
that's a completely different bear.
That's not my area. But illustrations cost money. Talented illustrators deserve to get paid, for their skills and their time. And so you either need to go into it knowing that you're starting a business and make sure you think about it that way. Like, I'm investing this and this is how I'm planning to get that money back, have a business plan. Or if you have fun, expendable, spending money, then just know that you're going to need to spend some to get the product that you want. So I think having the right mindset going into it would be my number one piece of advice.
Yes. Absolutely.
Why is it important to offer multiple publishing routes?
Oh, well, that's super important because everybody has a different goal or a different vision of success. Like, I just wrote a blog post about this. You can go read it on the blog. But basically, like I always felt I love the creativity part of writing, but I'll just admit it, I wanted to impress the gatekeepers, the editors, like I wanted that sense of like from the slush pile, my story got chosen. Like that,
Right.
that gave me a sense of pride. And so if I had self-published, I might have had a beautiful book, but I wouldn't have had that reward for myself. Like that's what I wanted. So whereas my friend Vicky, my boss, Vicky, she self-published, she didn't have that desire. She was a classroom teacher and she was creating a book to use in her class, like a fun book for her kids in her classroom. So she had different goals. So I think different people, different goals, different publishing routes. And I just think that just like anything else in life, everybody's different. So it's important to know upfront.
What motivated you to focus on children's literature as opposed to young adult literature? Or
I think
and actually you focus on picture
books, yes,
as opposed to a little bit older books.
Yeah.
So why that?
Well, I did write one middle grade novel.
Mhm.
It's been out on submission and it hasn't sold. And I enjoyed it, but I think what it boils down to is that I love the challenge of rhyming. And rhyme really is only picture books. I mean, you really can't get, if you get longer than 500 words of rhyme, it's like, okay, this is getting old. So I think that number one is rhyming to me is like jigsaw puzzles for other people. Like I just like to do it. It's a brain exercise. That coupled with just, I don't know, maybe I have ADHD. It's like a lack of long-term attention. Like that middle grade novel, when I was done with it and they told me I needed to go back and edit the whole thing, I was like, oh my God, this is so much. It's so long. Like I wanted to do something different. Like I really like the fact that at any time on my computer, I have like 10 different picture book projects. And so when you get tired of one or you get writer's block on one, you've got another one to shift over to.
Right.
So
Right. See, I'm kind of like that too. I get, once I'm done with something, I'm done with it.
yeah.
Okay. I do not. Even my husband will tell you that. Once I'm done, I'm done. I don't want to go and keep doing it over
Keep
and
that
over.
in mind,
Right.
Ralph.
That's hard for writers because editing is
He
part of the
knows, he
process,
knows.
like,
And
yeah.
here's the thing. Now he writes, and he writes children's books. Okay. So he will write his children's book and then he'll say to me, Gael, what do you think of this word? And he'll change it to a different word. And then he'll come back to me and he'll say, well, what do you think of this one instead? And I'm like, well, the other one was fine. I don't know what the problem is. And then he'll come to me and he'll say, well, what do you think of this? And he will change that one word 15 different times. And he'll keep asking me, what do you think of this one? What do you think of this one? What do you think of this one? And I'm like, the first one was fine as far as I was concerned.
I think that must be another thing about children's book authors, because I'm the same way. Like when you only have 500 words to use total, each word is like a precious little tool.
And he will make sure that it is the exact right word. And he is right. I will say this.
That's good.
Don't tell him I said this now.
He's right there.
Oh, darn. Oh, my goodness. Don't listen.
I think he heard you.
Oh, darn.
You mentioned something about 500 words.
Yes.
So in your children's books, in other words, do you set a limit on the amount of words? Or
I don't like count them as I go. But the minute I finish a rough draft, I click on word count and see what it is. Because children's books absolutely have to be under 1,000. And in my opinion, that's too long. So, and rhyme has to be even shorter than that. So, we can argue about it all day long. I've had so many clients that are like, well, my kids always liked the longer, fairy tales, and that's fine. But kids today are TikTok kids and YouTube shorts and video games. And so their attention spans are shorter. And so if you want them to, it's not just to get them to read it once. You don't just want them to finish it once. With picture books, you want them to be like, I want this one again and again and again. And for them to do that, it can't be this long, drawn out thing because they will get frustrated with it, but their parents also always don't have time to read a big long story too. And so shorter is always better. And I think, again, that's why I love picture books. It's like a challenge, you know. I got to tell, it's like the condensed version. It's like espresso as opposed to coffee. Like it's the super strong.
Well, I had read where there
you
was some authors, children's books were, it's like 300 words.
I was going to say, I think both of these are under 300 words
There
or
you go.
close.
There you
They're
go.
short because they're
Okay.
poems. I mean, look at any book of poems.
Right.
And
A poem is going to be short. It's not
Yeah.
going to be long.
that's what it is.
It just isn't going to be long.
And I have several picture books I've written that haven't sold yet, and they're in prose, not poem. And they're a little bit longer, 500, words. So I think,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that's an interesting tidbit.
Yeah. How do you stay updated with your industry trends?
Ooh, that's a good question. So Twitter it's not Twitter anymore. What's it called? X. Mhm.
X. Oh God.
Twitter is X is a big, or it used to be a big publishing gathering place. Like all the agents and editors have Twitter accounts. Some of them left when Elon Musk took over, and are on various other places now. But that's still a really good place. I subscribe to Publishers Weekly.
Yes, I do too. I did. I don't anymore.
I'm thinking about going with the digital version because I keep getting the paper ones and I feel like I'm wasting paper.
Well,
so
that's what I
don't know.
did. I have the paper
Yeah.
one, and I do like getting the paper one.
I do too.
But I probably should do the digital instead.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm going to really, because I'm not very good about reading online. I'm just not.
Well, when you work all day on a screen,
right.
you kind of like to be able to like
Sit down and
go on the porch or something. and read a
Yeah, and
magazine.
I don't want to read it online.
Yeah.
I really don't.
My
So-
other big source is I mentioned SCBWI, that I'm a member of that, and they have a monthly newsletter.
Right.
And I'm not a big fan of email newsletters, honestly. Like usually I
Yeah.
delete them usually, but this one is really, really good. Like it's always, everything's relevant to me and because it's all children's book based.
Right.
And they have a lot of the times little announcements like, oh, this publisher is looking for these types of books. And so
Now,
it's just really valuable.
Is there the same thing for young adult agents? Is there something for
SCBWI is for everything from board books up to young adult. Young adult is considered children's. I know, I mean,
okay.
to us, it doesn't feel like it, but it is.
Okay.
So yeah, sometimes it'll be young adult
Okay. So then, yeah.
focused.
All right.
So yeah, it's for everybody. And like I went to their conference and they had sessions for young adult authors as well.
Oh.
So
When is their conference?
it depends on your region. So SCBWI is international, and in the US they have regional, groups. So we're the Kansas, Missouri team. And theirs is yearly in November. This past November it was in Kansas City, but I think this coming year they're going to do it digitally, which I don't like. But
Oh no.
but I think that it's hard for them to make their money back, when they have to pay, because they'll bring in like 5 or 6 agents and editors from
Yeah.
houses around the country, and they pay for their flights and their food and all that. And so
Right.
I think it's just hard to make that work. But
Yeah.
even virtually, it's a great organization. So
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I would imagine it would be,
I
but
prefer the in-person.
yeah,
but-
I do too.
Mhm.
I won't pay for digital.
yeah, usually they're cheaper, but still, I
I don't
just
I don't do
I don't know.
digital
The whole reason is to network, right? And it's
And
hard
talk
do
to other
that.
people.
Yeah, it's hard to
not
do
just
that virtually.
not just to talk to the
The bigwigs.
bigwigs, but to
Mhm.
talk to other people as
Yeah,
well.
one of the best things about those is the lunch.
Yeah.
Because they'll, sit
You
you
get
with
to talk-
people who write the same thing, and you get to just talk. So,
Right.
and I'm
right.
an introvert, but I still like that. Like
Yeah.
that's nice to me.
You're an introvert?
Can
Huh.
you not tell?
No.
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 This is why I work
Don't
from
believe
home
it.
in
I
my
wanted to
pajamas,
ask
so I don't
you-
have to leave the house.
In your work with other authors,
Mhm.
what are some of the challenges? What are the big challenges that other authors face?
I think the biggest challenge that I'm helping people deal with lately is a mismatch between what they want and what the industry is looking for. A little bit of what we talked about in terms of like length or, naming a character after a grandchild or a child or something like. I have so many authors that want to write, for example, a 2,000 word story. And that's just not, but they want to be traditionally published. I'm like,
Mhm.
there's just not that doesn't exist in the traditional market, unfortunately. And then I'm like, well, you can self-publish. And they're like, well, I don't want to do that. So it's this like, well, I want two things that are mutually exclusive,
Right.
or so many authors want to just write and have someone else do the marketing. So we have tons of clients that come to us and say, can you tell me someone I could hire to do my marketing for me? Sure, but you'll never make money. You'll never even break even. If you're hiring someone,
Right.
you're paying someone to market your book for you. That's going to cost you with children's books. It's just hard, and so you have to market yourself.
If you're
I have
publishing
people
yourself.
that say they don't ever want to be on social media, but they want to sell children's books. I'm like, well,
That's
Yeah.
not going to work.
I can't make those two things match, like
It does not work.
So I think that's the biggest challenge, is just coaching people through that process of accepting
So it's more of a
The reality
marketing
of
issue.
things.
or
of-
making a decision about, they have to make concessions somewhere. Like, I'm not going to get exactly what I want.
Right.
So
Right. Right. So you are listening to The Author's Edge with Gael Freer and Bob Price, coming to you weekly on Saturdays at 10 a.m. on KWRH 92.9 and KXOK 102.9 FM, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. nationwide on My Genre Radio Network. You can also view our latest videos of past shows of authors-edge.com online and download valuable information on marketing and publishing. And we have 3 things to remember about writing children's picture books. 3
Ooh.
things.
Wait a
That's
minute.
good.
Is this publishing and writing tidbits?
This is publishing and writing tidbits.
Oh.
Keep-
Well,
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you. Number 1, remember children are perceptive and deserve respect. Never underestimate their intelligence or speak down to them. They know what you're talking about. Avoid using overly simplistic language or condescending tones. Strive for clarity and authenticity in your writing while respecting the intelligence and curiosity of young writers. 2, make sure children picture books are age appropriate in content and theme, avoiding inappropriate or even borderline topics in language and imagery that may be too mature or inappropriate. Include diversity. Representation matters in children's literature. Avoid creating books that lack diversity in characters, cultures, and experiences. Ensure that your book reflects the rich tapestry of humanity by including characters from diverse backgrounds, ethnicities, abilities, and family structures. And celebrate differences and promote inclusivity in your storytelling. Okay? So, how do you measure success for your clients?
I think that, again, depends on their goals. So, I've had some clients that they just want to make this story for their family and their friends, and their success is getting it out there and it's done and it's printed and they, made it through the process. I have other clients that they really want to make it big in terms of the business side of it. And so for them, success is different. So it really just depends on the client. So,
what excites you most about the future of at-home author?
Ooh, that's a good question. We are really hopeful that because it's membership based, we really want to build a community of writers that can support each other. And so, I think we're close to 200 right now. And we would love for that to grow. So we've been watching, each month how many new subscribers we get, because then that allows us to provide more things for them. So right now we're doing once a month webinars by guest speakers. So I brought in an accountant who specializes in author stuff, so that they could help them out. So we can provide more resources and more cool activities the more subscribers we get. So I'm excited that hopefully that'll keep growing. Our YouTube channel is growing pretty quickly, so hopefully that'll continue. And I just feel really lucky that I still get to teach. Like it feels like my new classroom. So I just hope it keeps going so that I can keep doing it because
and the students want to be there.
Yeah. So I think that's what I'm excited about.
Do you have any special tips about book reviews?
Ooh, book reviews are hard to get. People, you know, even me, I'm an author. I know how important they are, and I don't leave
Do you
reviews.
write when you buy a book? Do you write a book review?
I try to, but I probably don't on all of them. You know, like it's just hard to find the time to do stuff like that. So advice-wise is build up all the things that you listed in those marketing tidbits about building up, you know, your platform, whether it's social media or email, every single one of those is another potential review. So
how much time do you actually spend on your social media? Doing all those things. You know, how much time do you actually spend?
So my situation now with working from home and doing at-home author stuff and my stuff, things get blurred a little bit. Like if I'll get on Facebook, I'll be doing my stuff and at-home author stuff at the same time. But I usually dedicate at least an hour in the morning to quick email check, and then all X, Facebook, Instagram. I'm not on Pinterest. At Home Author is on Pinterest, but I don't run that. So I don't know about that. So I don't know, maybe like an hour a day, just like responding to people, answering questions. Some of that is At Home Author stuff though, not my own off, you know, like it's a mix. But like we have a private Facebook group for our members, and so I answer a lot of questions there too. So
do you ever do like the reels on
I did a couple on YouTube, like YouTube are they called shorts? YouTube shorts.
Yeah.
I did a couple of those. I don't know if they were any good, but
but on Facebook, have you done any of those?
No, I haven't. Maybe I should.
Because I was looking at doing some of those myself.
Yeah.
For some of the books that I represent.
You know, it's kind of strange though. If you do Facebook reels, and I'm caught all the time looking at those.
Me too.
I would tell you that 80% of them are from China with it just.
No. I'm talking about people that I know. I mean, you know,
I just don't see the reels on there.
I think that social media in general is a little bit difficult for children's books because kids don't have social media. You know what I mean?
But
like
parents buy them.
Parents do. That's true. Yeah.
You know, and if you make the reel according to what a parent would purchase.
Yep. You should try it.
That's what I was thinking.
I just am not very good at
creating like a review almost.
I think the post is really your stronger.
Well, I just feel like
I'm thinking both
those
really.
reels and videos I feel like have to be just like you have to wing it. And I can do the YouTube videos where I have a camera and I can cut and change, you know,
get
it right.
But
the winging it. I don't know.
Okay, we're getting to the end of our show, ladies and gentlemen. So, future plans for you as a writer are real quick.
I have 3 books coming out in 2025, 3 children's picture books. So, Seasons on the Farm, Chalk the Walk, which is all about sidewalk chalk, and a Christian one called The World's Best Christmas Light is coming out in the fall. So.
Okay.
Tell us how we can reach you.
ChelseaTornado.com is my website. So just my full name.com. And that has links to all my socials. So that would probably be the easiest.
Chelsea
Tornado.com.
ChelseaTornado.com. And
2 T's.
Yeah.
With 2 T's. Thank you for tuning in to Author's Edge. Tune in again next week for more tips, resources, and your favorite conversations. Next guest will be Andrew Dottie, and we will be chatting about his company, Edit Right. Thank you. Until then, see you around the Inkwell. You're going to see me around the Inkwell. Till then, we'll see you, everybody, around the Inkwell.